English speaking and writing plays a significant role in the life of students. Therefore, in today's lecture, I'm going to teach you about the 3 important tenses that will help you to speak fluently and write effectively and smoothly. Yeah, I'm going to teach you about present, past, and future indefinite tenses. The tenses are very easy to be understood. They are overly easy to be comprehended. You just need to understand its definition, you just need to understand its uses and the structure. A student who understands the uses of any tense and its structure is the one who can use it in their sentences anytime. So first and foremost, I'm going to teach you about present indefinite tense. You must have studied. We use the present indefinite tense for daily routine, repeated actions, habits of someone, or whenever we want to talk about universal truth. So if you want to talk about those actions that happen repeatedly, and if you want to talk about those actions that are the part of your daily routine, use the present indefinite tense. You can use the structure, subject. First of all, you will mention the name of the individual who performs the action daily. Then, first form of verb. Sometimes you will add s, sometimes es, and sometimes ies, according to the situation. I'll teach you when to add s, when to add es, and when to add ies to the verb. That's an easy thing to be understood. You don't need to worry about it. And then you have to mention the object, receiver of the action, right? Receiver of the action. A person or thing that receives the action is known as the object of a sentence. So you have to mention the object of the sentence in the end. For example, Samir pass, first form of verb, and I have added es to the verb, and I'll teach you why, right? And Samir is the subject, first form of verb is pass, and then I have added es to the verb, and finally the object, Samir passes. What does Samir pass? Does Samir pass tests? Does Samir pass exams? Does Samir pass CSS? What does he pass? So Samir passes my tests, the receiver of the action. So you just need to follow the structure in order to create sentences to express daily routine, repeated actions, habits of someone, or universal truth. A big question takes place in the mind of many students. When do we add s, es, and ies to the verb? How to understand it? Overly easy. You don't need to worry about it. If a verb ends with s, o, ch, sh, z, or x, you are supposed to add es to the verb. For example, the word pass, it ends with s, therefore you are supposed to add es to the verb. If I talk about the verb do, it ends with o, so you are supposed to add es to the verb. And if I talk about wash, it ends with sh, therefore you are supposed to add es to the verb. Then a bigger question takes place in the mind of students when we add ies to the verb. Simple. When a verb ends with y and before y there is any consonant, you will remove y and will replace it with you will replace it with ies. For example, try, it will become tries. This verb ends with y and before y there is a consonant, therefore you will replace y with ies. If I talk about cry, it will become cries, because this verb ends with y and before y there is consonant, therefore you are supposed to replace y with ies. If I talk about fly, it ends with y and before y there is a consonant, therefore you must replace y with ies and it will become flies. Hopefully it is clear to you. Hopefully you have understood it. The second tense that we are going to study is the past indefinite tense. Easier than the present indefinite tense. When do we use past indefinite tense? You must have studied about it. You might have tried to understand it. Let me teach you in easy words. We use the past indefinite tense to express completed actions. So whenever you want to talk about any completed action, whenever you want to talk about an action that has taken place, that has been completed, that has been finished, you will use the past indefinite tense. And the structure of past indefinite tense is subject plus second form of verb, object. We use second form of verb to express a completed action. Let me give you an example following the structure. I am the doer of the action, right? Then what's the action that got completed, right? That is punish. Punish is the first form of verb and its past form is punished. I punished. Whom did I punish? Was it a student? Was it any employee? Was it any child? Who was the individual who got punished? So I punished your students. A teacher informs other teacher that his students got punished by him. So you can follow the structure to express any completed action. So whenever you want to talk about any completed action, whenever you want to talk about an action that has been completed by you, use the past indefinite tense and must follow this structure. And finally, last but not the least, I'm going to teach you about the future indefinite tense, which is going to be the easiest tense that you're going to study. The future indefinite tense is used to express an action that will take place in future. Simple. I don't want you to be confused. I just want you to understand that this tense is used to express an action that will take place in future. And the structure, first of all, you will put subject and then will or shall, then first form of verb and then object. Students are confused to understand the difference between will and shall. There's nothing to be worried about. It is the easiest topic that you might have studied in your life and that you might study in future. When the subject is I or we, you will use shall. If I talk about will, it is the friend of everyone. You can use it with any subject. You can use it with he, she, it, I, we, you, they, blah, blah, blah. If I talk about shall, it can only be used with I or we to express a pure future. So, if the subject is I or we, you have two options. You can use will or shall. If the subject is Samir, Satriyal, Kaleem, and so on, you will have to use will only. For example, she. Now, the subject is, you have only one option. You can use will only in this case, right? Because there is no I or we that I have used as a subject. She, with she, what do we use? Will. She will. What is the action that will be performed by her? That is learn. She will learn, right? What will she learn? She will learn English. So English is the object of the sentence. You can say she will learn Pashto, she will learn Urdu, she will learn Russian, she will learn English, she will learn French, blah, blah, blah. So whenever you want to talk about present actions, use the present indefinite tense. Whenever you want to talk about completed actions, use past indefinite tense. And whenever you want to talk about future actions, do not forget to use the future indefinite tense. In today's lecture, I have taught you the three important tenses that will help you a lot to speak English fluently and write it effectively. So use the three tenses in your sentences, in your writing, in your English speaking, and learn more. So speak more, learn more, write more, and learn more. Thank you very much for giving your precious time.